Okay. All right. Officially, good morning. Welcome everyone to the weekly opening bell Tuesday edition. Um, Glenn was unable for personal reasons, and I was in transit still, coming back from vacation. No sound in the app again. Um, and so that is one of the things we are addressing. And we are going to actually move away from the Circle platform for our meetings to address that. So starting probably even tonight, we will have adjusted and have Zoom as the core structure. Just in case John can't hear me. But it will require that you also have the Zoom app as part of, right? Because you will be moving from Circle into Zoom. It's no extra steps, but you do have to have the app. So, sorry, John. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Good to see everyone. Let's have a quick reminder of the disclaimers. We're here for education, illustrative purposes only. Our trading is, we are not brokers, we're not advisors. We don't give advice or recommendations, yada, yada. Okay, let's take a look at what's going on. I might have not even gotten my new window open, so let me, let's get started. Futures and news. A little bit of a rebound in the S&P and the Dow. The NASDAQ continues to have some woes in the short term. Up 0.3 on the S&P, 0.24 on the Dow. NASDAQ is down in the morning. We had a pretty good group last night come to the happy hour, and there's actually going to be some changes even to the core structure of our meetings, which we're going to unfold and release next week in response to a need to provide a greater dedication of time to the beginners of our group. So we're going to look to segment things and have a little bit of a different structure in order to accommodate. Over the formation and the development of our group, we've always tried to make sure that you can get on the train, right? It's a moving train. We're doing things constantly. That's part of what we do as a group, is the consistency and continuity of how we address the market. Market's shifting. What are we doing? What trades, right? And it's just an ongoing process of us evaluating things. And that's on purpose, because if you were doing it by yourself, that's what it would feel like. But it's hard to know that without doing that. So it's a moving train. But we want to have an ability to onboard beginners. Start from the beginning. We have your first stock trade. We have your first option trade. So we're still solving for that. And there's going to be some changes that we're going to be implementing for 2025. And we'll, as always, look forward to your feedback as to, was that right? Could we still do it better? We want the group to develop like we want to develop as traders, constantly improving it. Evaluate it, measure it. Can we improve that? Let's try to. It's a great mindset. That's what we're going to try to do. So I'm glad to have you guys be a part of it. What's the news? It's the transition. The election went great. It traded well, very bullish. Okay. We had some great follow-up, and now we've hit some speed bumps, is what I'm going to call it, speed bumps. The hiccups, that's what we're trying to make sure that we understand, and how bad is it or whatever. We had a great conversation because, it's like, well, Long term, short term, it's very different. Long term, it's not even a hiccup. It's just part of the regular course of action. In the short term, yeah, there's a hiccup here, but how much excuse me, how much disruption has there been? Minimal. We're fine. Our posture has stayed strong. I've been watching. I'm going to be kind of processing now. I would like to watch Glenn's videos, and I'd like to listen in and process it with mine. I think I'm very interested to see what the group saw, what was discussed as this was going on. I'm so excited to watch those. I literally just got back yesterday and ended up crashing immediately after our our happy hour. But I can't wait to watch that and see how you guys were discussing it, what was said, how everyone felt. I'm very excited to be able to go back in time and be a fly on the wall for that. Steven said they had a continued good discussion last night, continuing to utilize the community resource. I love to hear that as well. So what's the fears? Now all of a sudden there was a bad consumer confidence report with the drop now caused by concerns of the threat of tariffs. Was it rhetoric, or is he going to actually put it on? Now there's some uncertainty that's coming into the market. Okay, that's to be expected. We knew there would have to be some kind of hiccups. This could move through January. January is not often a strongly bullish month. We got there a little early. December kind of got slapped around a little bit. It could continue. Okay, are we fundamentally different in the way that we see the market, though? And for me, the answer is no. The disruption we saw sector-wise, we didn't see a defensive shift. We saw an all boats shift, right? It wasn't like there was this clamoring into defensive things, and our top growth sectors are still leading the way. I will tell you this. Technology can carry by itself. Not for a long period of time. But there are plenty of bull markets I can show you where it was tech, just like strapped it on, carried the market for a little bit. Which means, of course, that's all you would be trading is in that. You're not like, well, let's try to get me a few financial stock trades and a few industrials. You're not doing that because they're not showing you strength. As those sectors have broken down, we're like, okay, relax. Let's let them recover. We have a very specific pattern we look for coming out of consolidations. You're not going to get the bottom. Okay. Ever. I'm not at that point. I'm not trying to pick a low. If you are, you're going to be disappointed with what we do. Once it hits what we call quote unquote consolidation, where it's broken like the 50 or it's just that weakness. Let's pull up a chart. Let me just bring up. You could even argue here with NVIDIA that type of saying like, I'm not trying to pick this bottom when this consolidation is happening. I would like to see it break with some volume, looky, that says, hey, look, get to a higher low or get to a point above the consolidation and then give me a higher low. So this coming down and looking to turn and this potentially turning here. If that were to happen, I would be thinking to myself, yeah, there it is. That's the kind of thing I'm looking for that says we've managed to pull out of this. And it doesn't matter if it's this chart or if it's any other chart. If I went to... Amazon just looks great still. Or Apple, looks great still. Just made a new high. It's pulled back. It's flagging. I don't look at this and think, oh, what's going on? I think, I'm getting ready for something here, it looks like. Other things, though, if we move into, and we'll go through the full watch list, I just kind of want to, I'm, to be honest with you guys, I feel like I'm actually, I watched the market, of course, but in different hours and, in different ways than I'm used to. And so I'm reorienting myself. How? I'm doing my market posture. That's what I've been doing. I've been looking at the markets, the trends. I've been looking at the sectors and how they're moving. I've been looking closely at the major market analysis. I've been poring over the VIX to, really see and feel what happened there. We talked a little bit about the VIX last night. I'll put it out to a bigger audience. How did the VIX help? Glenn is not as strong a purveyor. I think he's definitely embraced it. I saw him make some comments about the VIX. The VIX to me is a critical one. How did it help? Let's pull it up. We're just jumping around. I'd love to be hearing comments, questions. I'm going to go back and make sure I'm seeing what you guys are saying to me. Give me a second here. Sandy, thank you. I appreciate it. It's good to be back. It's good to be here with you guys talking about this. What did we see from the VIX? VIX was looking fabulous. It was looking strong. I'm going to get rid of we had these three big peaks, and then, we came down, lower, high. What an amazing window of trades this opened, right? That was a very profitable window of trades. We got a great window of trades from the election. Just a couple of, it was strong November. Yeah? Tell me I'm, look at your November. How was it? Got to be good, I think, right? I don't think anybody had anything less than a great November. Moving into December, what happens? Got out with a slight loss. Now, PJ, I will go through that trade tonight in my session because that's an advanced concept. So yes, I hope you can join for that. If not, watch the recording because I am going to talk about that one and strategies that you could have had. It was real profitable right until like Monday, Tuesday. And if you remember the thing I said for the last week of those, order automation where you're like, it can't cross this line, bing, bing. I don't know if that's what you did. If you waited a little longer, the volatility helped a little to keep it where as the market dropped, small loss is fine for something like that. But the question we would say is, did I push too long for too much when that was giving me profits for quite a period of time? That Monday was like, you get there, you got through the weekend, you got some profits. Anyways, okay, so let's keep going. What did the VIX do? That looks good. That's a lower high. This lower high right here would give us, I would say, be putting trades on, bullish trades. Ooh, what just happened? The high of this day, 1454. The high of this day, 1443. The high of this day, 1469. We took out those highs. Tell me if you saw it when it happened. That was our low. And we came up. And all of a sudden, it just got stuck. And then, boop. Subtle. Right? That's a little bit subtle right there. If we didn't see that, what happened next? Less subtle. Still, remember that for me, I would even probably put it like 18 is really if it's under 18 and you're still catching something where you're like able to hedge or able to do something, but anything under this band of 16 to 18. Right? When it got into this band, that was the end of where it got to. And that might be the same thing that we see now, or it wasn't, but we didn't know. But that right there, what did that do? That created, this was my low, and this is my new low. And this is higher than this. That higher low is the escalation. If you go to the trading plan outline, if you're new, I really hope you have, that should be the first document. If you're a new trader, there's no magic formula out there. No website's going to like give you a shortcut. We're going to make sure you can understand the process, but it's going to be, you got to roll up your sleeves. So sometimes people mistake, like, this looks like there's going to be some work here. Yes. Yes, there will be. It's a pretty comprehensive trading plan outline. We go through it week by week, one section at a time. We have videos walking you through each section. What does it look like? What kind of rules should I have? What does a sample set of rules look like? But here's the thing, and I said this is one of my favorites. I said it last night. If you treat trading like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby, which means you pay it. If you want trading to pay you, you need to treat it like a business. I don't mean 50 hours a week. I mean the dedication, the commitment, the structure, a business plan. You need a plan. If you think you're going to tap your head and be like, here's my business. People think that with trading. Oh, I'm just going to come in, get some trades, put them on, bingo, bango. That's not what it is. And a new person I met yesterday, great person, blanking on names. I'm so bad. I was tired last night. I'm going to go back and look. But he's like, people say, 90% fail. I said, our answer should be good. Those 90%, those hobby traders, that's who is going to be on the other side of the right trade. The hobby traders. We need hobby traders. We love hobby traders. We don't need them in here necessarily. We want the right traders in here. The hobby traders, there's plenty of places for hobby traders to exist, to go get bad information online. You know it. You've probably seen it yourself. There's a lot of good places, a lot of really good places for hobby traders to go get bad information. Okay. The more of that I see, the happier I am. That makes me happy. Right? Because someone has to be on the other side of the trades for us to make money. Someone has to lose money. It's a zero-sum game. It's a poker game. We're not creating chips. For me to get chips, I'm taking them from somebody else. That's just kind of the nature of what we do here. For every buyer, there's a seller. And sometimes it's the market maker. Great. They can afford to take losses sometimes too. So, right? But that's the mindset we want to have is let's get ready to make that plan that's going to carry us and be strong. So we need our trading plan. We need our record keeping. We need our record keeping for our market. We need these things. We need data, constant data. I need numbers so that I can't be like, yeah, I feel like I'm a good trader. What do you mean you feel like you're a good trader? Show me your numbers. That's it. If your numbers say you're a good trader, you're a good trader. There's no feelings about that. That's empirical. That's data driven. And that's what we can measure. You can't improve what you can't measure. So but we got to get to measuring things. So you need your spreadsheets. You need your record keeping, and you need it to provide. You can't just like keep spreadsheets. You need it to provide you hard data that you can be like, these are my KPIs, right? Key performance indicators. This is about you as a trader, what you're measuring. So if there's someone who's telling you you're going to succeed doing something other than all of this, They're going to show you a path to a hobby, and you'll eventually figure out that it is indeed a hobby. And if you want to make it a lasting thing, then yeah, let's go together and do this. I'm excited for 2025. Let's continue talking about what happened next as I hopefully point some beginners in the right direction. Get your trading plan. Go through. We have videos for every component of it where you can just be like, oh yeah, what is this supposed to be? And you start to understand, like, trading is like a puzzle, and they dump the puzzle pieces in front of you and then they walk away with the box. That's tough, right? You're like, I don't know what I'm building here. I don't know what it's supposed to look like. I don't know where the colors go. That's what you should be looking for, things that help you see the box. And you know, if they're just like, here, look at these two puzzle pieces and how bright and shiny they are. I don't know. Is that good? Two bright, shiny pieces? Or do we know where those go or how they work? Or I want context and structure. So, okay. It got quiet in here. I hope I didn't say the wrong thing. But let's keep going, because we do want to get to the market part of this. Bing. Oh, came hard, right? It came so hard. And we've seen panic. We saw panic way worse than that before. We know them. That doesn't necessarily. And let me, to provide context now, I'm going to erase this. I'm going to expand my chart back out because I had to get rid of this. Now, I want you to remember that even back here, when this went crazy, what happened? Higher high, pull back, higher low, plenty of time. We had plenty of time to have a hedge. In your trading plan, it says tsunami indicators, ? What are the things that you're looking for that are just very subtle? If the market's already talking about it, it's too late. The market was talking about it after it happened. You need something that's going to be like, oh, if you think when I hedge, I know why all the time, I don't. I'm just like, oh, something just showed up. What am I going to do? I'm going to buy 5 weeks out, 5% out of the money, puts on the SPY. Bam. It's formulaic. 5 weeks out, 5% out of the money, strike price, puts on the SPY. That's what I do every time. You can just know it happened. Does that mean it will work for you? I think it would be a great starting point that you should try and you would adapt it. You would do something different. We always do. That's inevitable, right? That's one of the things about following somebody is you're going to change what they do. And once you do, it's your system. So now it's like, it's not working. Well, you changed it somewhere. I promise. When I work with people and they're like, I'm following this. And then I'm like, well, we're going to find a point where they just put a little sprinkle of discretion. But a sprinkle of discretion means it's no longer what you were given. It's now yours. You've changed it, but you're not really owning it yet. And I want you to own it. I want you to be like, hey, I'm going to try what you did and be like, you know what, Scott? I felt better going 7 weeks out in time because I don't even need to know why. If you felt better doing 7, that's great because it's yours. You do that. I tell people I can get you 80% of the way. That last 20% is going to be found in your trading plan, in your record keeping, in your own observations. If anything different than someone telling you that, hobby. Hobby. It can only get you to a certain point, and then you put the pack on and you carry it forward and you figure it out and it helps. And most people that are succeeding, that's what they wanted, right? So I feel like there's going to be a lot of people who listen to this and they're like, yeah, hell yes, this is what I'm looking for. And other people will be like, I don't know, this doesn't sound easy. It's not. Okay. I didn't hear the bell, but I might have my speakers turned down. So I think the market opened while I was yapping away. So let me go pull it up. Okay. So yeah, there we are. Interesting. Do you guys like my trend lines? Those are the blue one came in. I feel good about my trend lines. I feel good about where we are within the trend. This helps me because I'm sure glad there wasn't a lot of panic back here or back here or back here, right? When you go back and think, still here listening to the bills. I see it too. Thank you, Stephen. But go back and think about all these times where there was a lot of people who in here weren't putting new trades on. They were panicking and taking stuff off. And then we saw this and we're like, yeah. And the same thing happened there. And the same thing happened there. We can go back in time and we can look at our posture and be like, we didn't panic. Our posture was a 5-point, right? It's empirical. It's not like, oh, that's what's necessary. So now here we are and we're like, what is this? And we're going to have processed it with volume scores, and we're going to process it with all kinds of different things. But here's what I know. My long-term trend held. That score will not change. It held. Great. My short-term is going to be adjusting. That's okay. I'm here for it now. Now I'm interested. I'm going to put my scores up. I'm going to put what Glenn had. And we'll kind of come to a consensus with what we want to leave on the archives of the group. I don't want that to be mine, because it's not. A lot of what we do comes from processing it as a group. For me, sectors that I like are technology still and communication services, so tech adjacent. We're definitely watching to see how it processes and what kind of recovery we get in industrials and financials, consumer discretionary. So that's part of this. That adjustment might not come this week. As I said, it might go into January. Okay, that's fine. From a cyclical standpoint, spring is good. January is kind of iffy. February, March, April, those are strong months. Does that mean it always happens? Well, we looked for, October, November, December. December was a little wishy-washy. Still got a little bit, but it's good for us to have some idea of expectations so that we can adapt rather than just react. I would rather adapt than react, right? I'm just like, oh, okay, I thought this, it was a little different. Let's move into that instead. Tonight, I think we'll do some watch list work. We'll go through and say, okay, there's going to be some on the list that are going to get bounced, that we never got a good trade with them, or something happened and then they broke down, and we're going to get rid of them. And then as the dust settles, we want to come out with the new strong watch. And now what, right? We don't just ride the previous ones. Some are going to get kicked off. Our core list will stay the same, and we're going to rebuild. So the watch list over the next couple of weeks is going to be very fluid. Now's when you don't want to start gathering cobwebs on different watch lists where you're not sure what you're watching and why. So this is a good time for some housekeeping when the market goes into something like this, where you clean up your watch lists. If you have a bearish watch list, make sure you keep that separate, right? If some of you did a little speculation, we definitely had a break down to this. It was definitely a lower low by the time it got to there, which means this was definitely a lower high. If you said, hey, I'm gonna take a stab with some puts, okay. What are you doing? You're probably managing right now. You got a little piece early and you're like, yes. And then you're like, oh, what's going on now? And this is where you have to be careful. If you're managing some speculative puts right now, your mind is not ready, or possibly not ready. So make sure it is ready. If this thing turns bullish and all of a sudden you're taking losses on puts, are you getting your bullish trades on? Are they on in time? That's something that you want to be thinking, what's happening with that? How is that working out? Am I going to transition? If you did those puts, what was the number? Was it just one or two? Do you feel like, right? So one question in our downloads, I hope if you're new, you go to the downloads and just kind of grab everything. there's a document in there, top 10 trading mistakes. That was what I called my head nodder. I used to do a lot of live presentations with big groups, and I would go to that list and just walk around the room just discussing the mistakes, and I could get the people right. You know, when you go to a tennis match and they go left and right all in sync, I would get the whole audience like, yeah, I do that. Oh yeah, that's me. Right? And just talking through those. One of the biggest ones is over trading. And that's hard to define. People say, how do I know if I'm over trading? My answer is, if you don't know you're not over trading, you probably are, right? If you don't know exactly why you have the number of positions that you do, at the risk per trade that you do to create the portfolio heat that you do, if you don't know exactly why each of those is in place, there's a very good chance you're over trading. And over trading is contextual with market conditions. So it's harder to overtrade a stronger market than it is, a 1 or a 2, or a minus number, right? 3 or 4. It's harder. Does that mean that we can still find ourselves where we get caught? We take a couple losses and we're like, ooh, yeah, that's what's going to happen on the transition. Is there any value in looking at volume in the options chain? Yes, volume and open interest are going to be basically tied, are going to be hand in hand. Volume is liquidity for options. So the objective is thousands for open interest, which equates to hundreds trading daily. As you look at like a single option chain, that's our objective. And what that's going to do is get us where the bid-ask spread is 5% or less. And objectively, we're trying to get pennies, right? I don't want to, the less we have to pay the market maker to get in and out of our options, the more money we keep. We're always going to be in a situation where we find a stock, we're watching it, and a trade sets up, and then all of a sudden we get to a point where the liquidity is a bit iffy. And then you're like, do I do it? Do I not? And again, everyone's going to come to a place where they're like, where their gray area is there. I think if I were to guess, Miguel's gray area is tighter than mine now. He's like, I don't trade with the illiquids at all. There's times where I'm like, I might do this, and he's like, it's not enough. Okay, that's great. I love that he says that. I think that's such a strong thing to come to, where I'm like, you know what? I've still had a few good trades where I knock it pretty good and I fight the liquidity. And then there's times where when it doesn't work, I'm like, oh, I knew I shouldn't have. Right? So of course it's just traders come to their conclusions, but it's the why. It's the fact that you're never going to go into a situation where it's like a couple dozen contracts. You're in a real, as the British would say, a real dodgy part of town, right? The guy's like, hey, you want to trade some options, and it's like, whoa, I don't know about this guy. Yeah, they're not competing. They're not good if they're good market makers, they're going to go and they're going to compete in where the pits, right? And that's where we want to trade, is in the pits. We want to trade where guys are fighting to get business, and it makes it easier for us to get out of trades. It makes it easier for us to use the right types of managing orders on the trades. So there is a ton of value in volume. And that's where it's going to lead you. Volume is just hand in hand with open interest. They're both about liquidity. They let you know how deep the market is, how competitive the market is. And yeah, there you go. Great question. Love that you asked it. Beginners, if you're there, if you're new, I love your questions the best. Your questions are the questions that I want. I'm going to be asking for them more. I'm going to be pleading with you to make sure that we get we'll find rabbit holes all the time as we just talk about the market. But I want us to make sure that we're getting in all the right beginner holes so that you're like, yep, okay, that cleared a few things up. That's helpful. That connected some dots. So I'm going to pop through our watch list real quickly today. Do you feel like we're all pretty much in alignment, everyone, with how we see the market right now? Let me know if you agree, if you disagree. Tonight, we'll talk about the trade specifically. Glenn will have his session. I'll have mine. Tomorrow, we are not meeting for Wednesday. The market's closed. We'll do the Wednesday morning, Thursday morning. So we're just kind of mixing things up. Be water, my friends. Apple, it's now down. Are we like clamoring, or are we thinking this thing is setting up? Setting up. We're patient right now. We know to be patient with everything. Amazon is still okay. App is still okay. I'm still seeing things that look fine to me. Here we go. I like credit in financials, AXP. AXP's fighting to see if it's going to make and again, look at the 50s. We're still above those. A nice reference point. And here's one that's not, right? Here's one that's not. Could this be a sneaky reversal going on? It could be. It could be something that someone would take, or they might say, you know what, I'm waiting for it to do it above the 50. That's where I'm ready to take mine, right? So we'll be talking about financials. It's a big group, so it's always mixed. Here's the one right down the middle. Bank New York Mellon right on top of the 50, doing that same type of a pattern. So am I going to want to grab maybe one of these to see if it's going to be an early riser in this sector? Yeah, I am. You can see the pattern is very similar with all of these. They all look the same, but they're doing it in different places. Industrials even worse. They're way down on this, but it's the same thing. There's my accelerated consolidation. Is this enough for a sneaky reversal is what I call that little signal right there? Is it enough? Why is it sneaky? Because it's well below the 50, right? So that's pretty speculative. And I don't need to. You can see here, is this the same kind of a thing? Or do we wait for it to do it on top of the 50? If you did it back here, you would have caught a nice trade. If you waited for the 50, you also caught a nice trade, right? So I think there's something setting up. It's just we don't know what yet, and we don't know which one we're going to be willing to trade. Caterpillar, same thought process. CLS holding up, looking great. New trade developing. Great. We've got some strength there. Chipotle, consolidated. So here we go into some consumer stocks, right? What are we waiting for? We're waiting for the consolidation to break, right, in that situation. Okay, let's keep going. CNK, same thing. Coherent, same thing. There's Cisco, up. Looking for a little bit of a pullback. I think Cisco still looks strong. DAL, that's one that PJ talked about. Looks like it's trying to hold up above the 50. The diamonds, Dow's trying to hold up. That sneaky reversal pattern, that's what we're watching. That's a bullish market fighting for it. Here's another industrial. Well into consolidation. There's nothing there for us. Nothing even enticing. We're going to be patient. We're going to wait to see if it gives us the signal that we look for, and we will go from there. All right, let's see. Flex, same, looking to push. Here's Bitcoins, pulled back a little bit. Industrials, GE Vernova, looking strong, sideways. Never broke the 50. Gold sitting down a little bit. GM, look at GM, trying to do a little something here, trying to convince us. Google, looking strong, possibly setting up. Goldman, back above the 50. Home Depot, gotta wait. HWM, possibly developing into something here. IBM, what do you guys think? It's I think that this one is near enough the 50 that this consolidation to me, all I need is a little bounce around the 50, and I think it'll be I think it'll be strong. Okay. IP, iffy, IWM. Okay, so now we're gonna watch to see, do the small caps lose the leading position? Is there some reality coming into play? Here's JCI underneath the 50. Oh, my old friend KKR looking like a potential setup developing for me there. MasterCard credit looking strong. Meta still looking okay. We've got plenty of strength still. We have plenty of things that look like they could be poised. Not Microsoft, not yet. MicroStrategy, not MicroStrategy. This one's turned interesting, I think. I would be willing to trade that when it comes out of this consolidation for sure. NDAQ. Here is Netflix. NVIDIA. Yeah, a lot of patterns that look the same. Oh, and look at our old friend PLTR. Old trade did well. New trade setting up. PayPal holding above the 50. The NASDAQ is moved into a bullish position for the day. That looks pretty good. Roblox strong. Looking at a potential setup there. Reddit looking for a potential setup there. A couple of real strong ones from Communication Services. Rocket Labs made a nice high move. Now pulling back. I believe setting up another new trade. SoFi, pretty strong still. The SPY moving into a bullish position today. TJX sitting on the 50. That one's iffy. T-Mobile, nothing there for us yet. So some of these are going to get bounced. Tesla still strong, possibly setting up for a trade. Taiwan. I think Taiwan looks even a little stronger than NVIDIA right now. I think a setup developing there. Trade Desk, no, not yet. Twilio, that's a little iffy. Upwork looks okay. A big bounce, big drop down on the dollar there. Okay, let's see. VRT. Nothing there. Victoria's Secret trying to hold, trying to find some support maybe above the 50. Walmart, same kind of a thing. Looking for a setup. And Zillow holding above the 50. So I think that we have a good watch list. There's a lot of good stuff on there. There's a few things that are going to bounce. We're going to go look around, find some new things as the dust settles. That's where I am. It'll be interesting as we go into, remember, it's a short day today, I believe, right? 2 hours early. Does that sound right? And then tomorrow we're closed. And then back to normal business as usual Thursday and Friday. So yeah, okay. Let's look for that. I will see you guys tonight. And then I will see you again on Thursday. I will put a reminder out in an announcement to make sure everybody knows that. Other than that, hey, it's great to see everybody. Looking forward to a fabulous 2025 together as a group. We're going to have a great year. I feel it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy New Year's. Be safe if I don't see you later tonight. Hopefully I will see you tonight. Otherwise, see you on Thursday. As always, happy trading.